Hi again. It's Kat, your English teacher. Welcome or welcome back. I had a great weekend and I hope you did too. I didn't do anything very special, but it was fun just to hang out and watch the Olympics. Now the Olympics are finished, I'll have to find something else to do on my weekends. I thought today that we would do some more this or that. It's been over a week since we did it, and I really enjoyed it when we did it last. I hope you're enjoying the different topics that we've been talking about and discussing. Anyway, let's get into it. This or that questions for adults. Okay. The first question is, would you prefer a vacation or a staycation? Staycation is a bit of a new word, and it means what it sounds like. So it's acting like you're on a vacation, but you don't go anywhere. You can have a staycation at home, but that's a bit difficult. A lot of people, and I've done this myself, have a staycation in my hometown where I live. My family and I went into the city and booked a hotel room for a couple of nights and just enjoyed the things that our city centre has to offer: restaurants, the casino, just walking around, looking at the shops. It was amazing. It's great to see your own city through the eyes of a tourist. And we discovered so many different things. It's not the same as if you go in for a day and just go shopping or go out for dinner. Because you've got time to walk around, you really get a feel of city life. So, but the question is vacation or staycation? Anyone who knows me knows that my answer is always going to be vacation. I love to go on vacation. So, yeah. Although a staycation is fun, I prefer a vacation. The next one is night or morning. I'm a night person. I am definitely not a morning person. I don't like mornings. I think I've said this on this channel before, that I'm not into mornings. I prefer to do most things in the afternoon or night. In the mornings, I like to sleep. Okay, this one. Rich and famous. Would you rather be rich and famous or rich and unknown? It's an interesting question. I think we'd all like to be rich, whether that's rich financially or just rich in life. But fame is a different beast altogether. I've heard people say that it's addictive to be famous. I don't think I want to be famous. Oh, YouTube famous, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't need to be famous. I'm quite happy in my skin, which means I'm quite happy how I am. A little bit more money might be nice, but you have to work hard for that. So rich and famous or rich and unknown? I think rich and unknown. I think fame comes with a lot of problems, but I know that it's addictive to some people. The next question, would you prefer to be a passenger or a driver? I prefer to be a passenger, but I'm mostly a driver in my family. But I think sitting in the passenger seat, looking around, discovering things and relaxing, that would be nice sometimes too. Sometimes in these streams, we might come across the same questions more than once. And I deliberately do that because I don't want to do editing, but really, because it's okay to hear the same thing twice. When you're learning English and when you're speaking and listening to English, you are going to hear the same things over and over. And of course, the best way to learn is with repetitive learning. So I'm not going to hide the fact that some of these have been on before, and I'm quite happy to answer them again. Okay, let's get back to it. Oh, an art museum or a history museum? I'm not very cultural. I don't know about you. So I think a history museum because it's interesting. Art is nice to look at, but it's not my cup of tea. That's what we say. If something's not, we don't really dislike it, but it's not our favourite. So we say, it's not my cup of tea. So I think I prefer a history museum. I do know that I love the movies Night at the Museum. I laugh every time I watch them. I love it. And I do like to learn about history, especially my local history. Although my country, Australia, doesn't have a lot of history, but I still like to hear about how my city grew to be the city it is today. The next one is train or aeroplane. In Australia, most people only use the train for local commute to go to work every day, to head to the city. We really don't use the train across country. We don't have fast trains in Australia, not like Japan or Europe. So if you want to get a train from one city to another in Australia, it's going to take days. This is not convenient for anyone. And this is probably the reason that we have so many flights between cities. Every day there are numerous flights, probably 2 or 3 per hour between cities. And it's not that expensive now to fly between cities. So the train is really not an option. I was in Europe recently, or a couple of years ago, and we got the trains, the fast trains, from country to country, everywhere. We travelled everywhere on the trains. It was amazing. We loved it. And it's the most time I've ever spent on trains in my life. So that's a completely different scenario. The beauty of using trains when you're on vacation is you get to look out the window and see the beautiful countryside, which going through Italy and Switzerland was unlike anything in Australia. And I loved it. It was fabulous. Tea or coffee is the next one. Which do you prefer, tea or coffee? For me, this is interesting. I have a cup of tea every morning, always. First thing when I wake up, cup of tea. But that's the only cup of tea I have for the rest of the day. After that, I drink coffee. I like to drink cappuccino if I'm at a cafe, and I don't drink coffee at home. I go to a cafe every day after breakfast. I sit, relax, catch up on my emails, do a bit of people watching, and drink coffees, cappuccinos. So I think I would have to say I prefer coffee. The next one is interesting. Would you prefer to be embarrassed or to be afraid? I would prefer to be embarrassed, I think. I don't like being afraid. The only time I enjoyed being afraid was I was in the United States on a vacation, and my family and I went to Universal Studios, and there was like a haunted, not a mansion, I don't know, you just a walk through. You walk through and it's haunted and there's people, and my daughter and I screamed so much. We were so afraid. We were the front of the line, so we were the first ones to get scared of all the scenarios that we walked through, the different scary rooms that we went into. We were so afraid. We were holding on to each other. We were shaking, but it was the most exhilarating and fun thing I've done. So although I don't like to be afraid, this one wasn't so bad. But being embarrassed, I think I'm embarrassed often. And I don't care about being embarrassed. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm no different. I can laugh off embarrassment. I can apologize if I've upset anyone and then just laugh it off. I don't care if I'm embarrassed. Everybody gets embarrassed. The next question is if we prefer the city or the countryside. I'm a city girl. I like to live close to the city. I don't mind visiting the countryside now and then, but I do not want to live out there. I like to know that I've got a lot of options at my fingertips, whether it be shopping, hairdressers, restaurants. I want all the options all the time. I live close to a wine region in Australia where a lot of wine is made. The grapes are grown in the countryside near me, and apparently beautiful wines. And it's beautiful countryside to look at and to drive through. And I sometimes go there just for a day trip, but I don't want to live there. And I don't drink wine. So I'm sure that the wine tastes beautiful. It's just not my cup of tea. Okay, the next one. Smartphone or tablet? Which one do you use the most? Your smartphone or your tablet? Aha. Well, I use both, but of course I use my smartphone the most. Because it's handy. It's nearby, it's in my pocket, it's in my bag. But if I want to look at some maybe shopping, online shopping, I think I'll pull out the iPad so I can get a better look at what I'm going to buy. The next question goes back to our last question. Beer or wine? Well, I'm a beer drinker. If I have a drink at all, it's not ever going to be wine. It will either be beer or a cocktail. Yeah, I like the taste of beer. I like the idea of wine. When you see a lady holding her wine glass, it looks so fancy and it looks so feminine and so nice. I just don't like the taste. So give me a nice cold beer on a hot day and I'm happy. Okay, next question is camping or glamping? Now, in case you don't know, glamping is a mixture of two words, glamorous, camping. So it's camping with style. So you're not roughing it. You're not going without any of the little life pleasures that you love. So you're camping, but maybe you've got very comfortable bed, power, of course, shower, bathroom, all the comforts of home, but maybe in the countryside like camping. Personally, I prefer a hotel or a resort. When I was younger, I did love going camping, and real camping. No power, no comfort, just a tent and some great friends and maybe a few beers. But now that I'm older, no. Now I prefer a resort, swimming pool, restaurant, cocktails at the bar. I think I've earned that over the years. The next one is, This is the easiest question anyone could ever ask me. Do I prefer cooking or being cooked for? Now, I'm a great cook. That's true. But I don't like cooking. I don't like cooking at all. So this is so easy. I love being cooked for. I love being cooked for and my food being brought to me. So I can just sit and the food is presented to me for eating. I don't mind if I have to clean up. I'm happy to clean up for everybody if I don't have to cook. So definitely it is not cooking. The only time I really enjoy cooking is baking. If it's a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, maybe raining, always when it's raining, and I just think, oh, I would love to bake some cookies or cakes or something like that. And I've always got things in the house that I can do that. So, yeah, I love to bake when I feel like it. But I do cook dinner 6 days a week. So 6 nights a week, I cook dinner for my husband and myself. And that's probably why I don't like it, because it's like a chore to me. The next one. Oh, which do you prefer, roommates or living alone? I've never really lived alone for very long. Only maybe in my whole life I've lived alone for about 2 years. Ooh, and I loved it. I love living alone. Because I'm a very neat person, so I loved the idea of when I put something down, it's going to be there when I come back to use it again and nobody's moved it. I used to love my own company, so the quiet was fine. I was happy just to talk to my dog. And if I needed sound, I could just put the television on in the background. But yeah, I think living alone, I don't know, there's something cool about it. I have a friend who had never lived alone, and she found herself in a position of living alone later in life. And she was regretting living alone. She said, oh, no. And I said to her, just wait. Give yourself a couple of months. You are going to love it. She said, oh, no, I don't think I'm going to like this. I've never really lived alone. I'm used to having someone to talk to and someone to come home to. Just wait. Sure enough, it didn't take long. And then she said to me, oh, you're right. I love being alone. I love my own company. It's great. I said, well, you might not want to live alone forever. Enjoy it while it lasts. The next one is going to be, would you prefer to lose sleep or skip a meal? That's a strange question, because I can't imagine a scenario when you have to do either of those or one or the other of those. But I love my sleep, so I'm going to have to say I would prefer to skip the meal than to lose sleep. I'm not a happy chappy if I lose sleep. I think I'm a little bit grumpy if I'm tired. So I'm definitely going to say I would prefer to skip a meal. I'd like to know what other people think about that. Is it just me? Is it just me that just hates missing sleep? And because I sleep so well, I get really grumpy. Yeah. The next one. Would you prefer to hang out with little kids or old people? Little kids or old people? I think maybe, I don't know. I like both. They're both so different. I love the innocence of little kids, but then I love the stories that older people have to tell. I don't think I want to choose one of those. I don't want to upset anyone. The next one. Would you prefer to be sweating or shivering? Okay, let's make sure that you know what these words mean. Sweating, ugh, hot and damp and wet. Or shivering, freezing cold. I think I would prefer to be shivering. I have a theory. Bear with me. If you're cold, you can always put more clothes on, or a blanket, or a rug, or something to make you warm. But when you're hot, you can only take off so many clothes before the police come and take you away. So, and then you just can't do anything other than throw yourself into some water, like a swimming pool or the beach. Oh, there's nothing you can do. I would definitely rather be cold than hot. Okay. Would you prefer sneakers or dress shoes? Well, of course, that depends on the situation. I think when you get to my age, comfort is really important. So I'm probably going to say sneakers. But in saying that, it's nice to get dressed up and put on nice clothing and fancy shoes and look special, as long as I don't have to walk too much. I call my dress shoes my restaurant shoes. So they're the shoes that I wear when I only have to walk from the car to the restaurant, sit down, and from the restaurant back to the car. So my restaurant shoes are my dress shoes. If I'm going out for a day shopping, this is not a great idea to wear dress shoes. If I'm going dancing, I don't remember the last time I went dancing, but if I'm going somewhere where I know I have to stand for a long time, I'm not wearing those dress shoes. Here's an interesting one. Cash or credit? In Australia, most people use cards to pay, not cash. Not necessarily credit cards. We're using cards to access our own cash. Cash is becoming more popular now because we're aware that governments and businesses are tracking everything we're doing when we're using cards. And it's becoming a little bit too obvious. And so a lot of people are turning back to cash. I think in Australia, the government are trying to lean us away from cash so that they can keep an eye on everything we're doing with our money. But I like to have a little bit of cash in my purse just in case, so I don't get caught out. But mostly I'm using card transactions or card payments. Transaction is the word we use for a purchase. Next one's about coffee. Espresso or drip coffee? No one's drinking drip coffee in Australia. I know from watching movies and television that in the United States or in America, drip coffee is really popular. Everybody seems to have one of those coffee dripulators or a drip machine on the kitchen bench with the jug of coffee sitting there all day. We are not doing this in Australia. At home, we might have a fancy espresso machine, but if we don't, then we have instant coffee. So we boil the kettle, we put the instant coffee, and we do have some very good instant coffees, not that old-fashioned disgusting stuff. But we would always make a fresh cup every time we have a coffee. We are not having coffee sitting around in a jug for hours. Oh, no. This is not a thing in Australia. You can buy it. We can have it. But it's no. Not for us. The next one's also about coffee. So, hot coffee or iced coffee? Mm. I think I'm a little bit weird because I do love coffee, but I don't like coffee flavored things. So, no coffee flavored chocolates, no coffee flavored candy, and no cold coffee. Never cold coffee. So, no, not iced coffee for me, only hot coffee. The next one, you could probably answer about me if you've watched my videos. And it is, do you prefer patterned clothing or plain clothing? I very rarely wear plain clothing. I like a pattern. I like bright colors. And yeah, I like to brighten up everybody's day. So I don't own a lot of plain colors and I don't own a lot of black clothing anymore. When I was younger, I had a wardrobe full of black clothing. But now I've steered away from black clothing and I like to be bright and looking happy and making other people happy with my bright colors. Even in winter, or maybe especially in winter, when everybody else goes dark and goes to black clothing, I'm standing out like a beacon. And a lot of people do comment. I don't know if they're always being nice to me. Sometimes they just say, "Oh, gee, you're bright," and I say, "Thank you." Anyway, that's me. Okay, this one's about television. Do you prefer reality TV shows or documentaries? I don't like either. I don't like reality television shows. I can't stand it. If they were true and real, I would like them, but I know that they're not. I know that they're scripted and they're not real. So I can't do it. I find it insulting that they would think that they're fooling us because it's not real. No. And then this one and documentaries. If the documentary is about a place, then I can bear it. I can watch it. But if it's about animals, I don't like it because they introduce you to this family of animals and they're beautiful and they're cute and you watch them grow up and they're playing and everything's gorgeous and then a predator comes and eats them. I can't bear it. I can't watch it. I'm crying. I'm sad. So I steer away from animal documentaries. As beautiful as they might be, it always ends in tragedy. The last one that I'm going to do is salad or sandwich. I'm a sandwich girl. I love a good sandwich. Salad is like eating paper for me. Eating lettuce for me is like eating paper. I don't like to eat paper. I don't know about you, but eating paper is not for me. So, no, I'm definitely a sandwich girl. And I don't care what's in the sandwich. I can have a simple Vegemite sandwich because I'm an Aussie. Of course, I love a Vegemite sandwich or a peanut butter sandwich. I'm happy to have or a very elaborate salad sandwich. So, with some tomato and cheese and just a tiny little bit of lettuce, maybe some good ham or some good cold meat. But the salad, no, that's for my husband, not for me. Well, that's the end of another video. I hope you had fun. I'm enjoying doing these this or that's, and we'll see what we get up to next time. I hope you come along for the ride. I'll see you. Bye.